Burlesque Stripped Down, episode number 32. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you are listening to this. This is Velvet Eau Claire. I am your guide through all of the secrets, sexy, saucy, not so sexy, all those secrets of us, the ladies and gents behind the tassels. I am coming at you tonight. It is July 3rd. It is the night before the 4th of July. So, of course, there is a huge celebration already going on here in the United States. We have fireworks going on. So if you hear any little popping in the background, that'll be people having a great time celebrating the birth of our nation, or just celebrating a chance, a day off of work and a chance to have some fun and have a couple drinks and have some barbecues and all that good stuff. I will be heading off to a barbecue tomorrow as well, and then very shortly afterwards, actually late tomorrow night / early Tuesday morning, I get to head up to Chicago for a podcasting conference called Podcast Movement. So I am super excited to go up there, meet other podcasters, get to know some of that. And so I'm kind of working on getting some episodes up and ready to go for you right away. Next week's guest interview may be up a little bit late because I do get back on Monday. So may not be up immediately, but we're going to get that to everybody as soon as possible, even while I'm gone. And I really hope to come back with all sorts of great new ideas and new tech information and new contacts in the podcasting world. So super excited about that. Of course, I'll still be reachable, so you can definitely still send me an email, velvet@burlesquestripdown.com, with any thoughts that you have on this episode or on any of the other episodes that you'll be hearing throughout the week. There's always Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I'll probably be Instagramming as well from that convention, from that conference also. So you'll be able to catch up with me there. This is, of course, the first week of the month, so I am doing my favorites from last month. These are my June favorite things. All of the amazingness. I had a really good month, aside from some obvious not so good elements, really, really horrible elements, actually, which of course we'll talk about in a little bit, that happened here and around the world. But as far as personally, I did have some great things happen, so it was a really interesting kind of up and down of a month. So we'll put it that way. But let's go ahead and start with some of my absolute favorite things. Number one is Hozier. Now, I didn't just discover Hozier. I've known about Hozier for quite a while. I think we all, at least in the US, and I know it was popular over when I was living in France as well. We know his song "Take Me to Church." Got very popular. What was it? Late last year, maybe early this year. No, it was probably longer ago, actually. No, yeah, it was last year sometime, because I remember on the metro listening to it. So it's not me just first discovering Hozier, but I kind of rediscovered him, and I started listening to some of his things as I was driving on my road trip this month, and I just remembered how much I adore his vocal stylings, his lyrics, his tone, everything about him. Every single song that he has, I could listen to over and over, and indeed I do. So there was one line in particular that stuck out to me as I was traveling this month, and that was from his song "Arsonist's Lullaby." And the line goes, "Don't you ever tame your demons, but always keep them on a leash." And that really resonated with me. So I hope it does the same for you. But I highly recommend Hozier. Take a listen to some of his things. Obviously, "Take Me to Church" is a beautiful, haunting song, but some of his other songs are equally good, I would say, definitely. So Hozier is my big time musical favorite for this month. As far as TV shows goes, I have to give a shout out to a friend of mine named Jen, who introduced me to the show Girls. Now, once again, this has been around for a while. I had definitely heard about it, but I had never taken the time to sit down and watch it. And I have to say that I am pretty much obsessed. I'm in the middle of season 3? No, I think I'm starting season 4. I don't know. I'm somewhere in the middle there. I think I'm just starting season 4, if I remember correctly. And I'm just loving every episode more than the next. It's like Sex and the City, but for like my kind of people. You know, Sex and the City was always a little bit unrelatable to me. I loved the characters. They were funny. They were cool. But it just isn't really the type of person that I am. So it was always a bit hard for me to relate. Now, Girls, on the other hand, I am totally relating to every second of the way. I love almost everything that they're doing with it. And along with that brings me to another one of my favorites, which goes right along with Girls, and that is Mr. Adam Driver. Now, Adam Driver is one of those weird Of course, this is coming from the girl, myself, who is also madly in love with Jeff Goldblum, have a major Jeff Goldblum fetish. So, I mean, I'm not exactly one who always just falls for the stereotypical, beautiful, model type guys. Adam Driver's a bit different, isn't he? Yeah. I first saw him when he was playing Kylo Ren, of course, in the new Star Wars, The Force Awakens film. And I just thought he had such presence and such an amazing ability, amazing acting, amazing character development. I just really, really enjoyed what he did with the character. And of course, now that I'm watching him on Girls, everybody had told me he was very, very weird on Girls. And yes, he's a bit bizarre. And granted, I haven't finished the series yet, but I am just falling more and more in love with him with every episode. Of course, I have to ask myself, would I still be in love with him if he wasn't from Star Wars, if I had just seen Girls by itself before knowing him as Kylo Ren? But that's an unanswerable question. Doesn't really matter. Point is, right now, love him. Just love him. This is a bit bizarre one, this next one. It's a smell. Do y'all have these smells that you just love? I have just moved into a new house actually, and I found an old candle of mine, one of those big jar candles, and it's a lilac scented candle. And I hadn't smelled any lilac in a while because we don't really get real lilac down here in Florida. And I just have to say that I am lighting this candle every day, and I am just I'm transported back to when I was a little girl and we had lilac bushes in my backyard. So that is one of my favorites from this month, is that smell of lilac, and I can't wait to head back into the Midwest sometime soon to get to really smell that true fresh lilac scent. It's just so, so good. Speaking of so good, my favorites in the realm of food. Again, not a new discovery, just kind of a rediscovery, pesto. I do believe pesto may be one of the greatest foods ever invented by man, and it pretty much just makes everything better. I have also a major love for milk. I'm really in love with skim milk, but really pesto gives it a run for its money. Those are two of my favorite things that I can ever have in my fridge. So pesto I'm just loving it all the time. And as far as drinks go, this is a newer discovery. I've always loved Angry Orchard, but I just started drinking their green apple kind of flavor, or that version of it. And I like some of their crisp apple and some of the other ones too. But the green apple is nice because it has a little bit of sweetness to it that I really, really like. So those are my two things that I've been imbibing, this pesto and this Angry Orchard green apple cider, not necessarily together, but those have been amazing for me lately. Another favorite, this is more of a concept. I've actually been listening to several podcasts. And actually, why don't I tell you about the podcast first that introduced me to these things? This is a podcast called the Multi-Amory Podcast. And the hosts of this podcast are actually, they live in LA and they are polyamorous. So if you're not familiar with the term polyamory, it means more than one romantic partners. From what I understand, it's different a little bit from swinging, in the sense that swinging is more just purely about sex, whereas polyamory is about like actually having potential relationships or getting a little bit more serious, depending on how you define it. But that's a very complicated subject. But this particular podcast is fantastic because, as they say in their intro to the podcast, they're not all about only for polyamorous. They're about if anyone wants to have better communication in their relationships, if they want to think outside the box just a little bit, get a little bit different, learn to be better people, do more introspection, all of this kind of stuff. Their podcast is really great for that. It's also really great if you're interested in exploring polyamory, but it's really made me kind of examine some certain things about myself. So I found it kind of serendipitously, as it was through another podcast I was listening to. But this one is called Multi-Amory. So definitely check that one out. And they were chatting on there, and I can't remember which episode it was because I've listened to quite a few. And they were using a couple different acronyms that I just really loved and that stuck with me. And the first one was AFOG. AFOG, I guess you could say. And apparently these particular hosts, they say it quite a bit. And it stands for another fucking opportunity for growth. So I've just picked it up as one of those things, like whenever something kind of frustrates you or bothers you, or someone treats you in a way that you don't necessarily respond well to or whatever. It's not just about shrugging it off, but it's about realizing that this is just a fog. This is just another fucking opportunity for growth. And I really love that because it adds a nice kind of different take on negative experiences, on something that you don't necessarily want to experience. You can look at it this way instead. And you can do it a little bit like, with a sigh, because it is true. Another fucking opportunity for growth. The other acronym they were talking about is HALT. And they were discussing communication and relationships. And with both of these acronyms, I don't know whether they take credit for actually creating these acronyms or if they just got them from someone else. I am crediting them because that's where I heard about them first. But HALT, and they were discussing communication and relationships. And obviously the word itself means to stop. That you should try to avoid serious conversations if any of these 4 things are happening. HALT. Hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. So if you're feeling any one of those 4 things, you should try to halt or stop that conversation. I just think that's a really great way to kind of take stock of yourself, do a quick rundown whenever you're starting to get into maybe a serious discussion about something, or, speaking with a partner or a business partner or a troop member or a family member or whoever it is. Check in with yourself. Are you hungry? Are you angry? Are you lonely? Are you tired? Of course, I'm always tired, so that's always a problem. But you know what I mean? Just a chance for you to kind of take stock. And so this has been something I've been trying to kind of keep in the back of my mind. It's not perfect yet. It's another fucking opportunity for growth, even when I mess up. But it's getting there, and I'm really, really, I'm loving those 2 acronyms just to kind of keep, as you all know, I love acronyms. So to kind of keep those just in the back of my mind, it's a nice kind of quick reference to do. As far as other kind of things that I have bought this month, not too much, but I did get this beautiful soap bar, and it's actually the Shea Moisture is the brand name, and I got it just at Target, so it was nothing crazy. But this one is an organic African black soap, and I really like it. It's one of those giant bar soaps that are just really cool to have. And I just like the way it makes my skin feel so far. And it's really nice. So I'm loving that. I also, because I got a bar soap again, I went on Amazon and I ordered, I don't know if you've seen them. Many people have these loofahs, right? These little poofs. But this one is more of a sleeve, so you actually put your bar of soap inside of it and then close the little string. And it is a similar material to a loofah or to a poof, bath poof, but so it'll allow you to kind of lather up that soap really easily, right through that loofah. And I just love it because, of course, if not, the bars of soap always just fall on the ground. So I picked some of those up. So those are 2 of my favorites for when I'm in the shower. 2 of many favorites when I'm in the shower, of course, but those ones are it right now. That bar soap that I use all over my body with that loofah sleeve. Of course, I'm also loving, I got a new car this month. It's, slightly used, 2015. It's not perfect, but it works well for what I need it to. It works well for my other job. And it's just nice to have. I was, kind of trading cars and using friends' cars and family members' cars and all of this. So it's nice to have my very own wheels, kind of a necessity here in Florida. So that is great. And my new place as well. So I have moved into a new house that I am renting, and I am finding roommates at the moment, but I have a nice big room, and it's just been fun to kind of make it my own. So those are also, of course, 2 of my favorites, probably will continue into the next month. Winding on down here, I'm also loving Snapchat filters. I will say, Snapchat was a slow burn for me. I still don't love it. I understand it for one of 2 things. The first one is for sexting. I get it. If you want to send sexy pictures, then Snapchat makes sense. And I get it because of these amazing fucking filters that they have. You can actually long press on your face on the camera, and then all of these different masks and filters will come up, and you can do some really fun stuff, and it's crazy. So I get it for those 2 things. I still don't really understand the point of Snapchat otherwise, because I'm like, why would you want pictures to disappear? I like to save my pictures. I thought that was the point. I think I'm too old for it, really. But they have reeled me in with these goddamn filters because they're friggin' hilarious sometimes. If you don't follow me already on Instagram, you should definitely do that. Velvet Eau Claire. I don't have a public Snapchat at the moment, but I do post a lot of my Snapchat pictures over on my Instagram. So definitely head over there and follow me to kind of see some of the shit that it's just random stuff that I'm doing, but it's just silly and fun. My last couple favorites are a little bit more on the serious side. I will say, my family has been a big favorite. As some of you know, we went up to the mountains of Tennessee earlier this month. I guess technically last month in June. We got a huge cabin right near Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and my family and I, extended family as well, including some cousins I hadn't seen for years, and it was my cousin's daughter. So I guess that's still kind of my cousin or something, that I had never met before, and she's 7. So it was really great. It was really just a perfect week we had all together. There was no fighting. It was just really chill and and really fun. And we went tubing down the river and we went to Dollywood and we did all these things. So I know none of my family members listen to this podcast, but I would like to, they are definitely on my list this month as some of my favorite things. Of course, they always are, but particularly this last month because that vacation was just really, really a great memory to have. So I really loved that. And I highly recommend if you're ever looking for a family vacation, there are some beautiful cabins right in that Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, Sevierville area in Tennessee. And of course, my very last favorite has to be my town, my city, Orlando. We have been through a lot this month. It has not been easy. It has not been good. But there has been some good that has come out of it. If you listen to my Orlando Strong, Orlando United episode where I discussed my feelings on this, you'll know that I was struggling quite a bit with continuing to see the good that comes out of this, because it just feels like this happens so often. And so often we have to turn around and be like, yes, but there's positivity and good people come out of it. And yes, we see the good in humanity after we see the horrible in humanity. And that is true, but it gets harder and harder to see every time. But I'm still seeing it. And it helped a lot. When I recorded that episode, I was still in Tennessee. I hadn't been back to Orlando yet. And it really helped a lot to come back to my town and to go to the vigil with almost 50,000, or I think it was over 50,000 other people around Lake Eola. And everybody had candles and everybody was loving each other. And it was just really amazing. Really amazing. And so it reignited my love for this city, which was, as I like to say, a slow burn. I like that phrase. I didn't love this city right away. It didn't feel like it had a lot of soul when I first moved here. And it's true, you do have to dig for it a bit, but it is here. This is a very special place, especially when you get outside of the touristy bits and all of that. The real Orlando is a very special place. And I would, it's been hard to be away from Paris, that I also love, but I think it was important that I was here for this to really remember what it is that I love about this city. So with that being said, I will say that is the biggest favorite of all for this month is my city, my Orlando. So anyway, excuse me, I got a little teary-eyed there, but thank you for listening. I'd love to hear what your favorites were from this month. If you had any moments, either after the attack at Pulse, did your community band together? I know there were a lot of pride parades and festivals throughout the world this month. So tell me about them. Did you have anything that really stuck out to you? Any new discoveries, any old rediscoveries, anything that's really just making you happy this month? I would love to hear about it. Email me velvet@burlesquestripdown.com. Leave me a voice message on the right-hand side of any one of my web pages at burlesquestripdown.com. This episode in particular, you can get the show notes for it at burlesquestripdown.com/June favorites. You can like our page on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, Velvet Eau Claire, Twitter as Velvet Eau Claire. No Snapchat yet. Sorry, guys. That's only for my good friends. But I would love to hear back from you. So definitely keep sharing the love around. Keep sending me some love. I love it. I love you all. Thank you all for being there for me throughout this. For those of you who are in Orlando, thank you for being part of this amazing community. And thank you to everybody for being part of such an amazing global community. We're really creating something great. I really believe that. So in the meantime, definitely tune in back in, because today's only Sunday, so tune back in tomorrow, right away on Monday, and I've got a fabulous interview coming up with the beautiful Leopard Lass right from Australia. So check that out, and I will be back with you later this week with a Hot Tips episode. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, I love you all, and make sure that you stay sexy.